Before we dive into this intense and emotional story, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more gripping stories. Also, let us know where you're watching from. Drop your city in the comments below. Now let's get started. I thought I knew everything about my husband. Ryan, after 7 years of marriage, I had memorized the rhythm of his life. The way he always kissed me on the forehead before leaving for work. The way he whistled while making coffee in the morning. The way his fingers absent-mindedly tapped against the steering wheel whenever he drove. Predictable, steady, comforting. But as we climbed the winding roads leading to the mountains, that weekend something about him felt different. His usual calm demeanor had been replaced by something more animated. His hazel eyes gleamed with a spark of excitement I hadn't seen in years, and his lips curled in a way that suggested he was hiding something. A secret. "You're in a good mood," I said, my tone light but curious. He glanced at me, then back at the road, his grip tightening on the wheel. "I've been looking forward to this trip for a while. It'll be good to see Caleb again." Caleb was Ryan's old college roommate, an artist who had traded city life for solitude in the mountains. Over the years, we had exchanged polite holiday messages, but we hadn't seen him in person since our wedding. Ryan spoke of him often always, with a mixture of admiration and nostalgia. As we ascended into the heart of the mountains, the air became crisp, carrying the scent of pine and earth. Caleb's home, a sprawling cabin nestled among the trees, was like something out of a painting. It was rustic yet modern, with large glass windows that revealed breathtaking views of the valley below. The moment we pulled into the gravel driveway, the front door swung open and Caleb stepped out, his smile warm and inviting. "Look who finally decided to visit," he called, striding toward us with open arms. His embrace was firm, lingering just a second longer than expected when he hugged me. There was something about Caleb, something magnetic he carried himself with an effortless confidence. His piercing green eyes always seeming to hold a secret. We stepped inside and I was immediately enveloped by the scent of wood. Paint and something earthy. Incense, maybe? The walls were adorned with Caleb's art, vibrant canvases bursting with color and emotion. It was a world unlike my own, and yet for some reason I felt drawn to it. As the evening stretched on, we settled into a rhythm of old stories and laughter, wine flowing freely between us. Caleb had a way of making the past feel alive, recounting wild college memories. That made Ryan chuckle and shake his head. "You remember that night at that underground club?" Caleb grinned, nudging Ryan with his elbow. Ryan groaned, "How could I forget?" "You convinced me to get on stage and sing." I laughed, trying to imagine my composed husband doing something so reckless. "I need to see proof of this." Caleb smirked, "No video. But I'll recreate the performance if you want." The night deepened, the wine in my glass dwindling. As the conversation shifted from humor to something more charged, "We should play a game," Caleb suggested, his gaze flickering between the two of us. Ryan's eyes gleamed with mischief. Truth or dare, a flicker of anticipation curled in my stomach. It had been years since I played something so childish. Yet, something about the way they both looked at me made my pulse quicken. "Are we really doing this?" I asked. Raising a skeptical brow, Ryan leaned forward, his voice dropping to a low murmur. "Why not? We're here to have fun, aren't we?" I hesitated, then nodded. All right, but nothing crazy. Caleb chuckled, no promises. The game started harmlessly enough. Truths about embarrassing childhood stories. Dares to do ridiculous impressions. But as the night wore on, the challenges began to shift. Growing bolder, more intimate, the air between us thickened, heavy with an unspoken tension. Then Ryan turned to me, his gaze unreadable. "Lena, I dare you to kiss Caleb." The words hung in the air, a slow burning fuse waiting to explode. I felt my stomach tighten. Caleb's eyes met mine, flickering with something I couldn't quite name. I could feel the weight of Ryan's stare, the way his breathing had changed Ryan. I began unsure. "It's just a game," he said. His voice calm, encouraging even. I swallowed, my heart hammered against my ribs as I turned to Caleb. His expression unreadable. Slowly, hesitantly, I leaned in. The kiss was meant to be brief. A light brush of lips, playful. But the moment our mouths met, something shifted. Caleb's hand rested on my waist. His fingers feather-light yet firm. And suddenly, the world outside this moment ceased to exist. I pulled away first, breathless, my pulse racing. Silence stretched between us. Ryan's lips curled into a slow smile, something unreadable flickering in his eyes. That was interesting. The room felt different now, charged as if we had crossed a line that couldn't be undone. And deep down, I knew this weekend was about to change everything. The air in Caleb's cabin was thick with something I couldn't name. It wasn't just the wine or the crackling fire. It was the shift, the moment that had stretched longer than it should have. The taste of Caleb's lips still lingered on mine, faint and intoxicating, a reminder that we had just crossed a line. Ryan was watching us, his expression unreadable. His lips curled into a smirk. But his eyes held something else. Excitement? Curiosity? Or maybe something darker. "Well," Caleb said, breaking the silence with a low chuckle. That definitely wasn't in the plan. I exhaled a shaky breath, forcing a laugh. "It's just a game, right?" Ryan nodded, his gaze still locked onto mine. "Exactly, just a game." But the way he said it made me wonder, was it we carried on with the game? But the tone had changed. Every truth was suddenly laced with subtext. Every dare, a step closer to something we weren't willing to acknowledge yet. When it was my turn again, I hesitated before speaking. "Truth," I said, needing a moment to gather myself. Caleb leaned forward, resting his elbow on his knee. "All right, have you ever fantasized about someone other than Ryan?" A loaded question, my stomach tightened. I could feel Ryan's eyes on me, waiting. I swallowed hard. Lying felt pointless. The kiss had already said enough. "Yes," I admitted. Ryan smirked. "Anyone I know." A nervous chuckle escaped me. Maybe Caleb raised a brow. Interesting, the game continued. But the rules had shifted. The dares became touch-lingering gazes. Moments of hesitation that spoke louder than any words. It was an unraveling, slow and deliberate. And none of us seemed willing to stop it. When Ryan dared Caleb to kiss me, I barely had time to react before Caleb was leaning in again. This time I didn't pull away as quickly. His lips were warm, sure. And when he deepened the kiss, I felt my breath hitch. Ryan watched. Not with anger, not with jealousy, but with something else entirely: excitement. I pulled away, my breath coming in uneven gasps. "Are you okay?" Caleb asked. His voice low. I nodded. But my pulse was racing. Ryan took a sip of his wine. Watching us over the rim of his glass, I have an idea the way he said it sent a shiver down my spine. He reached for his phone and set it on a small tripod. The red light blinked on. Let's record this. He said a rush of heat flooded my body. Part shock, part anticipation. Ryan, he held up a hand. Not for anyone else, just us. To remember this moment, I turned to Caleb. His gaze met mine, steady, unwavering. Only if you're comfortable, he murmured. 100 emotions surged inside me. Uncertainty. Curiosity, desire. The idea of being recorded made it all feel surreal. Yet that same surrealism made it more thrilling. Ryan's expression was calm, but I could see the hunger behind his eyes. He wanted this and the truth. So did I. Caleb moved closer, his fingers brushing against my jaw. Lena, he murmured, giving me an out. I swallowed hard, okay? I whispered. The moment felt charged electric. Caleb's lips found mine again, slower this time, more deliberate. His hand rested on my waist, his touch sending a shiver down my spine. Behind the lens, Ryan watched his presence, making every touch, every moment more intense. He wasn't just an observer. He was directing, guiding. Look at each other, Ryan instructed. His voice steady. I want to see everything. The camera wasn't just capturing the moment. It was controlling it, dictating the pace, shaping the experience. I wasn't sure who I was doing this for anymore. For Ryan, for Caleb. For myself, maybe for all of us. Maybe because this had been coming for longer than I had realized. And once we crossed this line, there would be no going back. Sunlight streamed through the cabin's large windows, casting long golden streaks across the wooden floors. The fire had burned low, leaving behind the scent of embers and something else. Something intangible but thick in the air. The weight of the night before settled over me as I stirred beneath the covers, my body still humming with the lingering heat of touch, of whispered words, of boundaries shattered. I turned my head expecting to find Ryan beside me. But instead, my eyes landed on the empty space. My breath hitched. For a moment, I wondered if last night had been a dream. But the truth was evident in every fiber of my being. It had happened. Every stolen glance, every tentative kiss, every unspoken desire that had taken form in the flickering firelight. I sat up slowly, wrapping the blanket around myself, my mind replaying the night like a reel of forbidden memories. Ryan had watched, directed, encouraged, and I had let go of the last restraint I had been clinging to. I heard the soft clink of a coffee mug and followed the sound to the kitchen. Ryan stood by the window, his back to me, a steaming cup in his hands. He hadn't showered yet. His hair was still tousled, his skin carrying the scent of last night. But something about his posture was different, more rigid. "Morning," I murmured, hesitating in the doorway. He turned to face me, a small smile playing on his lips. "Morning." There was something unreadable in his gaze, something I couldn't quite name. I glanced around. "Where's Caleb?" Ryan took a slow sip of his coffee before answering. "He left early, said he needed some time to think." A strange weight settled in my chest. Oh. Ryan studied me, his expression shifting. "Are you regretting it?" I exhaled a slow breath, running a hand through my hair. "I don't know. It wasn't a simple yes or no." I wasn't drowning in regret. but I wasn't sure where to place the emotions swirling inside me. Ryan nodded as if he understood I meant what I said last night. It wasn't just a random impulse. I thought about this before, Lena. About exploring, about sharing. His words sent a shiver through me. He had wanted this, fantasized about it. And now that it had happened, did it change things? I asked softly. Ryan set his coffee down and stepped closer. I don't know yet, but I do know I liked watching you. I like seeing you let go. His fingers brushed against my arm, a touch that was both reassuring and possessive. I swallowed hard, and Caleb... Ryan's jaw tightened slightly. He'll need time to process. But he knew what he was getting into. We all did. I wasn't so sure. There had been an unspoken understanding between us last night, a shared desire, but now in the stark morning light, the lines we had crossed felt more real. Ryan tilted my chin up, forcing me to meet his gaze. Do you regret it? I hesitated. Then slowly I shook my head no. It was the truth. I had felt alive last night. One had seen in a way I hadn't been in a long time. But that didn't mean I wasn't afraid of what came next. We sat in silence for a long time, the weight of the night pressing down on us. I don't want this to ruin us, I finally said. Ryan nodded. It won't. But even as he said it, I could hear the uncertainty in his voice. This wasn't something we could take back, and whatever came next, we would have to face it together.